Beneath the ordinary world lies a veil, and behind it, the voices of the lost still whisper.
We are your guides into the shadows, where true crime meets the paranormal.
From chilling crimes to haunted histories, we uncover the stories that refuse to rest.
This is Veil of Echoes. June 4th, 2010, Portland, Oregon. A 7-year-old boy stands proudly beside his science fair project. A red t-shirt, black cargo shorts, a smile. The project's title: Can Electricity Move Through Water? His stepmother takes photographs. Teachers walk the halls. Parents admire displays. Students prepare for class. Everything feels normal, safe, routine. And then, somewhere between the science fair and first period, Kyron Horman disappears. No screams, no witnesses, no signs of a struggle. No one sees him leave. A 7-year-old boy vanishes from an elementary school in broad daylight. Hundreds of officers search. Thousands of tips pour in. The FBI joins the investigation. The largest criminal investigation in Oregon history begins. But 16 years later, Kyron Horman has never been found.
This is Missing Veil Files, a series researched and narrated by Bria, Zach, and Lindsay, host of the Veil of Echoes podcast.
Missing Veil Files exist to keep names spoken when the world grows quiet, to honor the missing, and to stand beside the families still searching for answers. Each case is more than a mystery. It's a life interrupted. And as long as these stories are told, they are not forgotten. If there is a case you believe deserves to be featured on Missing Veil Files, you can reach us through the Veil of Echoes podcast on TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook. Or email us directly at veilofechoespodcast@gmail.com.
This case begins inside an elementary school. A place where children should be safe. A place filled with teachers, parents, and classmates. But on the morning of June 4th, 2010, 7-year-old Kyron Horman walked into Skyline Elementary School for a science fair. He proudly showed off his experiment. He smiled for her photographs, and then he disappeared. No confirmed sightings, no physical evidence, no answers. Only one of the most baffling missing child cases in American history. And somewhere between a crowded school hallway and the end of the school day, Kyron Horman vanished. Kyron Richard Horman was born on September 9th, 2002. He grew up in Portland, Oregon. To those who knew him, Kyron was curious, thoughtful, intelligent, and endlessly fascinated by science. He loved exploring, asking questions, and learning how things worked. His parents, Desiree Young and Kane Horman, separated before he was born. Despite the divorce, both remained active in his life. But when Desiree later developed serious kidney failure, custody arrangements changed. Kyron primarily lived with his father. In 2007, Kane married Terry Moulton Horman, and together they raised Kyron and welcomed a younger daughter, Kiara. By all outward appearances, they were a normal family. Kyron attended Skyline Elementary School, a small school located near Portland's Forest Park. Teachers described him as bright, respectful, and well-liked by classmates. At just 7 years old, he already showed signs of being academically gifted. Science fascinated him. And on June 4th, that fascination would lead him to school early for a science fair. No one could have imagined it would be the last day he would ever be seen.
At the time of his disappearance, Kyron was 7 years old. He stood approximately 4 foot tall and weighed around 50 pounds. He had brown hair, blue eyes, and wore prescription glasses. On the morning he vanished, Kyron was wearing a black CSI t-shirt, black cargo shorts, white socks, and black Skechers sneakers with orange trim. Investigators would later circulate those details nationwide, because in missing persons cases, sometimes the smallest detail becomes the most important clue. But despite years of publicity, billboards, television coverage, and national attention, none of those details have ever led investigators to Kyron.
June 4th, 2010, Skyline Elementary School. Students and parents filled the hallways that morning. Science fair projects lined tables throughout the building. Teachers greeted families. Children proudly displayed their hard work. Among them was 7-year-old Kyron Horman. His project focused on electricity and whether it could move through water. Terry Horman later stated that she accompanied Kyron through the school that morning. Several photographs were taken. In one, Kyron smiles proudly beside his display. Those photographs would become the final confirmed images ever taken of him. According to Terry, at approximately 8:45 a.m., she watched Kyron walk towards his classroom. Then she left the school. It is the last confirmed sighting of Kyron Horman.
Yeah, this is the picture that she took. Most people think she's involved, but we'll get to that.
You never know.
After leaving Skyline Elementary, Terry later told investigators she spent the rest of the morning running errands. She visited 2 Fred Meyer stores, drove around with her young daughter, stopped at a gym, and eventually returned home. Meanwhile, inside Skyline Elementary School, classes began. Students took their seats, attendance was recorded, and somehow, Kyron never entered his classroom. His teacher marked him absent, but staff believed the absence had been excused. No immediate alarm was raised. No emergency call was made. Hours passed, and at approximately 3:30 p.m., the school buses returned students home. But Kyron wasn't on his bus. His stepmother called the school. What she learned would trigger one of the largest investigations in Oregon history. Kyron had been absent all day. No one knew where he was. And at approximately 3:45 p.m., police were notified. The search for Kyron Horman had officially begun. And from that moment forward, every minute mattered.
As the reality of Kyron's disappearance began to sink in, the search expanded rapidly. What initially began as a missing child investigation soon became something much larger. Police, sheriff's deputies, search and rescue teams, FBI agents, volunteers, National Guard personnel, everyone was looking for the same little boy. The wooded areas surrounded Skyline Elementary School were searched repeatedly. Forests, trails, ravines, creeks, fields, nearby roads, and eventually locations miles away from the school. Law enforcement searched areas within a 2-mile radius of Skyline Elementary, then expanded farther, Searchers would later include Survey Island, an area roughly 6 miles away, and locations surrounding the Suave Island Bridge. Authorities never publicly explained exactly why certain locations received such focused attention. Only that every possibility had to be explored. Hundreds of trained researchers worked day after day. Then came more and more. By the time the largest search efforts ended, more than 1,300 trained personnel from Oregon, Washington, and California had participated. Volunteers searched fields, mounted units searched trails, helicopters scanned from above, boats searched waterways, K-9 teams followed potential leads. Thousands of tips flooded into investigators. Every reported sighting was examined. Every lead was followed. At one point, the reward for information leading to Kyron was increased to $50,000. Yet, despite the enormous effort, nothing was found. No backpack, no clothing, no evidence. No indication of where Kyron went after he was last seen inside Skyline Elementary School. The investigation ultimately became the largest criminal investigation in Oregon history. And yet, the one thing everyone needed most remained missing. Kyron. As the search intensified, investigators began focusing on a question that would soon dominate headlines. Who was the last person to see Kyron alive?
Yeah, and apparently this school had no security cameras.
Sounds like the elementary school I went to. Middle of fucking BFE, where we're surrounded by nothing but fucking cornfields and all that shit.
It says just a few months after the incident, a local business donated and installed a high-resolution surveillance system at Skyline Elementary, making it the first in the Portland Public Schools District to have comprehensive indoor and outdoor cameras.
So it's like no schools in that district had cameras?
I guess not. The security upgrades at Kyron School eventually led to district-wide measures, resulting in indoor and outdoor cameras being rolled out to other elementary schools in the area. Almost immediately, investigators began reconstructing Kyron's final known movements. One fact quickly stood out. The last confirmed adult to see Kyron alive was his stepmother, Terry Horman. Terry told investigators she had arrived at the elementary school with Kyron that morning, walked through the science fair, taken photographs, and watched him head toward his classroom. According to her timeline, she left the school around 8:45 a.m. Afterward, she claimed she spent the day running errands, visiting 2 Fred Meyer stores, driving around with her young daughter, who reportedly had an earache, stopping at a gym, then returning home. The gym part is what gets me.
Yeah, here, let me stop at a
with
my
an
daughter's
earache.
got an earache, but let me get my squats in for the day.
Exactly.
And I went to 2
dumbass.
Fred Meyer stores. 2 Fred Meyers.
Yeah, 2 Fred Meyer stores. What is Fred Meyer store? What is that?
I guess it's like their equivalent of like a Walmart.
Oh,
Probably.
Let me see.
2 of them? Why'd you go to 2 of them?
The hypermarket superstores.
So like Walmart.
Super Walmart.
They're owned by Kroger.
Oh, there we go.
What are they called? Fred Meyer?
Yep.
I want to go to a Piggly Wiggly. Every time I hear that name, I'm like, I want to go to a Piggly fucking Wiggly.
I want to go to Super Weenie Hut Jr.
So it says the Fred Meyer stores did have security cameras, and investigators pulled surveillance images from them to track Terry's movements. First, Fred Meyer in Hillsboro. Oh, great. Terry went to the Cornelius Pass location around 9 a.m. Surveillance footage and a time-stamped receipt confirmed she checked out at 9:12. Second Fred Meyer store in Beaverton. She drove to the Walker Road location around 10 a.m. because the first store didn't have the specific medicine she needed. While inside, her presence was confirmed by both security cameras and a gym acquaintance who ran into her and spoke with her. It only captured her and her infant daughter. Kyron was never seen on any of the store cameras. Detectives began examining every minute of that timeline. Receipts, phone records, witness statements, surveillance footage. Investigators wanted to know whether Terry's movements could be independently verified, and if they couldn't, why not? As the weeks passed, public attention increasingly shifted toward Terry. But despite the scrutiny, law enforcement never publicly named her a suspect, and to this day, she has never been charged with any crime related to Kyron's disappearance.
Just weeks after Kyron vanished, the investigation took an unexpected turn. According to investigators, a landscaper named Rodolfo Sanchez reported that Terry Horman had previously approached him with a shocking request. He claimed that months before Kyron disappeared, Terry offered him money to kill her husband, Kyron Horman. The allegation stunned investigators, and it sent shockwaves through the community. Authorities launched a separate investigation. Sanchez agreed to cooperate with police. At one point, investigators reportedly arranged for him to wear a recording device while speaking with Terry. The hope was that a confession or incriminating statement might be captured. But despite their efforts, police were unable to gather enough evidence to support criminal charges. Terry denied the allegation, and no arrest was ever made. Still, the accusation dramatically altered how many people viewed the case, and it only placed even more attention on Kyron's stepmother.
The evil stepmother.
It usually is.
Always the evil stepmother.
Another name soon emerged during the investigation: Dee Dee Spitzer. Spitzer was one of Terry's closest friends. According to investigators, the two communicated frequently after Kyron disappeared. Police became interested in Dee Dee after discovering what they believed were gaps in her timeline on June 4th. The day Kyron vanished, Spitzer had been working a gardening job along Germantown Road in northwest Portland. But investigators questioned whether she could account for every hour of her day. Detectives interviewed her extensively. They searched her vehicle, they searched her property, and she cooperated with investigators. Spitzer consistently denied having any involvement in Kyron's disappearance. She maintained that she never left the property where she was working. Despite years of speculation, law enforcement never charged her with any crime. And like Terry, her exact role, if any, remains unknown.
As summer turned into fall, the investigation continued expanding. Grand juries were convened, witnesses were subpoenaed, friends and family members were called to testify. Investigators reviewed thousands of tips, conducted countless interviews, and spent months examining every possible lead. But by late 2010, the investigation had already cost well over $1 million, and yet the central mystery remained unchanged. What happened to Kyron Horman? And where had he gone after 8:45 that morning? For investigators, the lack of physical evidence was becoming one of the most frustrating parts of this case. Because despite one of the largest searches in state history, they still had no answers. Only theories. Some focused on the school, others focused on individuals close to the family, and some suggest the answer may lie somewhere investigators have never looked. But despite years of investigation, no theory has ever been proven.
One of the most troubling possibilities is that Kyron was abducted from Skyline Elementary School. The science fair created an unusual environment that morning. Parents were present, Visitors walked the halls. Classrooms were busy. Students moved freely between displays. For investigators, that raised an unsettling question. Could someone have used the crowded atmosphere to remove Kyron from the building? If so, they did it without anyone noticing. No witnesses have ever come forward to report seeing Kyron leaving the school. No surveillance footage exists showing him leaving campus. Which means, if an abduction occurred, it happened quickly and silently.
For many people, suspicion has remained focused on Terry Horman. She was the last confirmed adult to see Kyron alive. Investigators scrutinized her timeline, examined her statements, and spent years investigating her activities. Terry also failed 2 separate polygraph examinations, a fact that received significant media attention. However, polygraph results are not considered reliable evidence in court, and despite years of investigation, law enforcement has never charged Terry with any crime related to Kyron's disappearance. Terry has consistently maintained her innocence, and she continues to deny any involvement.
Another theory centers around reports of a possible second person. In 2010, investigators publicly announced they were searching for information regarding an individual allegedly seen sitting inside Terry's truck on the morning Kyron disappeared. Witness accounts suggest someone may have been inside the vehicle, but investigators never publicly identified that person, and no definitive explanation has ever emerged. If another individual was involved that day, their identity remains unknown.
Well, all the theories so far goes back to her, though.
Well, especially if she really
and then
tried to hire that person to kill her husband.
Yeah, but that's sketchy.
The months before he disappeared, so...
And then, like, if there was someone in her truck, that explains why they didn't see him on the cameras. I just think it's strange that it all comes back to her. I know I've read on several Reddit threads, too. Everyone says, it's her.
It just all lines up, because, I mean, you're the last person to see him alive. Allegedly, you hired somebody to murder his father moments before he disappeared.
Yeah.
There's someone allegedly seen in your vehicle that wasn't you, your daughter, or your stepson or husband. Right. So, I mean... And apparently one of your good friends you talked to, but you guys started chatting a lot more after he disappeared.
Yeah.
So that's kind of eerie. Just like the Alec Murdaugh thing. If you weren't directly involved, you had something to do with it.
Yeah, definitely. Alec Murdaugh. Perhaps the most haunting theory is also the simplest. Someone knows what happened to Kyron. Someone has known for 16 years. Whether that person participated, witnessed something, or simply heard the wrong conversation, they may still hold the answer. The answer that investigators, his family, and the public have spent years searching for.
In June of 2012, Kyron's mother, Desiree Young, took an extraordinary step. She filed a civil lawsuit against Terry Horman, claiming that Terry was responsible for Kyron's disappearance. The lawsuit sought $10 million in damages and aimed to prove that Terry had kidnapped Kyron on the day he vanished. But the lawsuit would never reach trial. In 2013, Desiree voluntarily dismissed the case, not because she had changed her beliefs, but because she feared the civil proceedings could interfere with the ongoing criminal investigation. The lawsuit ended, but the question remained.
I mean, I guess I could understand why.
Yeah.
Because, like...
But if it's her lawsuit, I mean, I guess it's because it's a civil lawsuit instead of, like, the federal investigation lawsuit?
I guess so, yeah. Like, she might have been just worried, like, something would interfere. Like, what if there is something they were fine? I don't know.
That's why I'm confused, because, I mean, it's nearly the same lawsuit, just a different jurisdiction. It's not really at a federal level, more of a local level. Me being ignorant to all the processings of law and stuff, it'd feel like her doing a lawsuit and them doing a lawsuit, they could combine their findings and get closer to a actual idea of what really happened, but then again, the same thing. It could have collided with everything and ruined it, but it's still an open case, so whatever they did wasn't working.
It says Desiree Young dismissed her $10 million civil lawsuit against Terry Horman on July 30th, 2013 to protect the ongoing criminal investigation into her son Kyron's disappearance. Young initially filed a lawsuit in June 2012 to accuse Terry of kidnapping Kyron and to legally compel her to talk, break her silence, or reveal the location of his body. However, she chose to drop the case due to specific legal and procedural roadblocks, such as access to police records. To successfully move the civil case forward in court, Young's attorneys needed access to the police criminal investigation files. Under the Oregon Public Records Disclosure Law, authorities could not legally release active, ongoing police investigation files to a civil party. Risk to the criminal case. Pursuing the civil suit further meant attempting to force open police files, which Young feared would compromise or jeopardize the integrity of the actual active criminal investigation. She stated she wanted no part in hindering law enforcement efforts and Terry's right to silence. Terry Horman continuously asserted her Fifth Amendment rights, and her defense team aggressively fought this civil suit, arguing it was an attempt to bypass criminal protections and influence future juries. Says Desiree still says, "I'm still going to bring pressure on Terry. I'm not going away." So yeah, she was just, I guess, afraid it was going to harm any evidence they did have, I guess. As the years passed, many assumed the investigation had gone cold. But behind the scenes, detectives continued working the case. Grand juries continued hearing evidence. Searches continued. Tips continued arriving. And in 2017, authorities conducted additional searches along Skyline Boulevard, the same area where Kyron was last seen. For a brief moment, hope returned. Perhaps investigators had discovered something. Perhaps there was finally a breakthrough. But once again, the searches yielded no public answers, and the mystery continued.
In 2016, Terry Horman appeared publicly during an interview on Dr. Phil. For years, she had remained largely silent. Now, she wanted to tell her side. Terry denied any involvement in Kyron's disappearance. She stated that she had always wanted to speak publicly, but claimed she had been advised not to do so during the investigation. Terry also expressed her belief that Kyron had been abducted, and referenced reports of a suspicious man seen near a convenience store on the day Kyron vanished. What about the one in your car? Oh.
That doesn't make any sense, though.
No, you're just trying to throw people off your trail.
I mean, I see creepy people all the time, but
I used to work with creepy-ass people.
I still do.
But well, there's this strange man at the gas station. What?
Go fuck yourself.
For some viewers, the interview raised new questions. For others, it changed nothing. And once again, the case remained unresolved.
Kyron Horman has been missing since June 4th, 2010. He was 7 years old. As of 2026, no one has been arrested for his disappearance. No criminal charges have been filed, and no definitive explanation has ever been provided. The investigation remains open, and law enforcement continues to accept information, and Kyron's family continues searching for answers.
Over the years, age-progressed images have been released, national media campaigns have been launched, and thousands of people have followed the case. But despite all of it, there has never been a confirmed sighting of Kyron.
His mother, Desiree Young, has never stopped advocating for her son, never stopped speaking his name, never stopped searching. For her, the case is not history. It is not a headline. It's her child. And every day without answers is another day waiting for a phone call that never comes.
Yeah, so, and then I was wondering, like, where did his dad, Kane, go?
That's what I was.
It says, so they're no longer together. Terry and Kane are no longer together. Their marriage was officially dissolved on December 31st, 2013. He initially filed for divorce on June 28th, 2010, just 24 days after Kyron disappeared. The separation and subsequent divorce proceedings were highly continuous and driven by several criminal factors.
It seems like he even found her suspicious.
Well, the investigation, Kane moved out of the family home and filed for divorce after law enforcement made Terry the primary focus of the investigation. Murder for hire allegations. During the initial investigation, detectives uncovered an alleged plot where Terry had reportedly tried to hire a landscaper to murder Kane. This discovery prompted Kane to immediately take their infant daughter and seek a restraining order against Terry. And a divorce settlement. After years of legal battles, a judge finalized the split. Kane retained the family home and was granted full legal custody of their daughter, and Terry was ordered to pay child support and was initially denied visitation rights.
Well, yeah, because something's not settling right.
Yeah.
You can't take somebody else's child and expect to keep yours.
No.
You can try to say all the bullshit you want, but everything's pointing back to you.
Says, yes, Kyron Horman believes that his ex-wife, Terry Horman, was involved in Kyron's disappearance.
But why? That's what I want to know. Like,
so in July 2010, when he filed for a restraining order against Terry, he explicitly stated the court documents, "I believe that Terry is involved in the disappearance of my son Kyron." He added that police had provided him with probable cause to believe this was true. The failed polygraph tests, Kane and Kyron's mother, Desiree Young.
I mean, I'm glad they do polygraph tests, but if they don't hold up as evidence in court, then what's the fucking point of wasting the time?
Kane and Desiree revealed in interviews that while they both passed their polygraph tests with flying colors, Terry failed both of hers. The process of elimination, Kane later explained that investigators ruled out other possibilities and tracked Terry's specific inconsistencies. All paths kept pointing back to her. So...
Yeah, because it doesn't say nothing about this gym that she supposedly went to, does it? Doesn't say anything about seeing her there, just that she ran into one of her gym mates at one of the Fred Meyers.
Yeah. And then now, over the years, Kane has stated that while he still believes she played a role, he has emotionally forced himself to move past obsessing over her. Instead, he chooses to focus his energy on working with law enforcement, keeping Kyron's face in the public eye, and raising his daughter, Kiara. Which, good for him, but still, yeah, it all goes, like we said earlier, it all goes back to her.
The only reason why I knew it was that name was because of the second Lion King movie.
Kiara. Oh, Kyara. I see, Kiara. I've heard of Kiara, too, so I'm like, I don't know, Kiara, whatever.
Or Kira.
Kira, yeah. But.
Yeah.
On the morning of June 4th, 2010, a 7-year-old boy walked into school for a science fair. He proudly displayed his project. He posed for photographs, and he walked down a hallway. Then he vanished. No confirmed sightings, no physical evidence, and no answers, only questions. Questions that have haunted investigators, journalists, and an entire family for more than 16 years.
Somewhere, the truth exists. Someone knows what happened. Someone knows where Kyron went. And until that truth is discovered, the story remains unfinished.
A school hallway. A science fair. A normal Friday morning. And a 7-year-old boy who never came home.
Well, I was also thinking, like, did they have any, like, tension between each other, like Kyron and Terry? But apparently on the outside, it looked like they were a happy, loving family. But the father's perspective. So Kyron Horman later said that he picked up on a noticeable tension between Terry and Kyron. He revealed they frequently argued because he found her treatment of the children unacceptable. Kay noted that Terry and her own teenage son from a previous marriage were actually the ones who did not get along. Well, the extreme hatred emails. Investigators shared intercepted emails with Kyron's biological mother, Desiree Young, which Terry had sent to friends before the disappearance. Desiree publicly stated that these emails revealed an extreme hatred for Kyron, where Terry blamed the 7-year-old for her marital problems and even wrote about wanting to hurt him. Another major point of contention in the house involved Terry's teenage son. Kane had recently insisted that Terry's son move out of the house. Investigators looked into the theory that Terry grew to resent Kyron because Kane allegedly favored his own biological son over hers. Ultimately, while Kyron was widely described as a sweet, easygoing child who loved his family, evidence suggests Terry harbored severe hidden resentment towards him.
I had a stepmom like that.
Yeah. She was crazy, too. What happened to Kyron Horman? This has been Missing Veil Files, Case File, Episode 9. Until next time, keep your ears open.
And the veil closed.